Hello, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hello. Thank you very much. Thank you. Welcome. Now, coming up in today's show, James wears glasses. I pretend to be a dog. And a terrorist eats a savoury snack. Got everything there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, throughout the developing world, people have, for many years, used Japanese-made pickup trucks.
Yes, but now European car makers have decided they want a piece of the action, so they've come up with pickup trucks of their own.
Yes, they have. And to find out if they're any good, this week we take the Grand Tour on a journey through history.
We begin in the Middle Ages, which meant going to Richard Hammond's garden. In parts of the globe where there's no mains water or electricity, a pickup truck has to be more than just transport for plague victims and livestock. That's why James has turned his Mercedes X-Class into a power station, using its rear axle to make electricity for the village. Richard, meanwhile, was using his Ford Ranger as a tractor, pulling a plough. And I was using this Volkswagen Amarok as an irrigation system. I'm using it to drive a pump which will deliver nourishment from the well to the community allotment. In fact, yeah, I can hear the water coming now above the smooth turbocharged throb of my V6 diesel.
Clarkson! Turn the car off! What was that? Oh, dear.
And there, and I've done my neck in.
This is supposed to be a demonstration of the utility of pickup trucks.
We've done it, we've proved all three of them.
Yeah, no, I have. I've sawn 3 pieces of wood for a fence. Hammond's ploughed 4 furrows for growing things in. You have only subtracted from this community. I think you've slightly missed the point.
Why do you always have to overdo everything? I mean...
You can shut up.
Why?
Because it's supposed to be a test of European pickup trucks.
And it's European.
Well, yes, apart from the fact that it was designed in Australia and it's built in South Africa.
What about the engine?
That's made in Turkey.
That's European.
Well, a bit of it is.
Well, look, let's not get bogged down with where Turkey is. What we've done is prove that all 3 of them work well when there is peace in the village in the developing world. What we must do now is find out how well they work when the peace comes to an end and there's a revolution.
When the revolution is over, it's important that all traces of the vile, hated dictator are eradicated. And that's why I'm attaching my Mercedes to this giant statue of Kim Yong-Clarkson to see if I can pull it over. Right, here are the rules. I have to do this using the lowest revs possible. So what I'm going to do is put it in 4-wheel drive low range, something Jeremy Clarkson can't do, 1st gear manual, and turn the traction control off. Here we go. Traction control, diff lock, down you come. 3, 2, 1, away! He's gone!
That was just right on your dunk.
What a feeling!
Oh, I bet that did that. That was just.
That is in the face.
Yes.
By the whole earth.
Yes.
In the face. Do you see what happened to your nose? Look at it.
Yes. And now, it's your turn because...
Yeah, matesy tongue. Right, it's time for your reign of terror to end. 3, 2, 1, begin!
All right.
He's dragging you, he's taking you for a scrape.
That's not on, really.
Nice one, Hammond. The scores so far, then, looked like this. James had used 2,100 RPM to topple me, whereas Hammond, despite his bigger engine, had to use 3,600 RPM to bring down May. And now it's time for me to win as I get rid of the last of the country's hated dictators, Dick Pott. And there we are.
Oh, now come on!
Well, you shouldn't have built a life-size one. You are a man of modest stature.
Yeah, fine. It reflects my ego compared to yours.
Well, it's, you know, proportional to the size of the tyranny.
I don't think I'm going to need low range.
You haven't got it.
Well, I know exactly. I don't need it. Lock the rear diff. There you go.
You'll need that.
Right, here we go. Ready?
Yes.
Taking up the slack.
There might be a really bad jolt, so be careful.
3, 2, 1, go. I've won another test. I've won both of them.
How have you worked that out?
Well, 600 RPM, OK? And I did the best in the village.
You destroyed the village.
Listen, let's not get bogged down with that. We must now move on to what typically happens in a country after the dictator is gone. With the government in disarray, we had to load all our worldly goods into our pickup trucks and prepare to run for our lives. Everybody else in the world has an iPod.
I don't
What's you got a gramophone for?
It was my grandmother's. We're fleeing from rebel forces. You don't stand here doing a commentary. Get in your truck.
I'm ready to flee.
Right, perfectly straightforward. Whichever one is the fastest from here to the flags there, yes?
Yes?
Best at fleeing.
Yes, they're called. Yes, exactly right.
So it's a drag race?
It's a flea race.
It's a fleeing race.
Let's flee then.
Come on, let's go.
If you need to flee from government forces, you need an Amarok. 0 to 60, 8 seconds. That's hot hatchback territory. It's the fastest of the trio, the most powerful of the trio, and the lightest of the trio. Probably not now, but it was. 3, 2, 1, go.
My Lego!
Bicycle?
This is our new life, chaps.
This is...
Lego, cream, and a shit record.
Well, you say that.
I'm going to start
I
again.
know we've got a chair.
You say that.
Oh, we're going to be all right.
I literally think we're okay.
Yes.
So let's just get this crystal clear. Okay, we haven't escaped with much. But the Volkswagen has now won all 3 tests.
Who decided that?
Me.
Yeah, but this isn't a dictatorship anymore.
We toppled the dictator.
Yeah, it's a democracy.
It was the fastest by a mile.
Yeah, it is.
It was easily the best at pulling over statues and the best at water irrigation.
No. And you may have got there first, guaranteeing your survival, but you have no life. You have half a table and a mattress and the worst album in history.
really have
I
nothing
have got
left.
the
You call
contents
this
of
the
a home.
worst album?
The merits of the Yes album aside, the fact remained that with the country now in chaos, help is urgently needed. So, how would our commandeered trucks cope with their requirements?
Quite well, actually.
I think we got away with that. No one from Oxfam here.
And now, if I may, I'd like to talk about the Jaguar XE, not your hair. It is a really very nice little car, if I'm honest. It's very good looking. It's not particularly expensive. It rides beautifully, very beautifully, in fact. And as a result of all that, people ignore it and buy a BMW instead. So, Jaguar went to its Skunk Works, which is based in a shed, and they said, could you make a fast version, one that will get everybody talking?
The standard low-cost procedure for turning a normal saloon into a sports saloon is to give it some fat tyres, a nice V6 engine, and maybe some bucket seats.
But the boffins at Jag decided to go a bit further than that.
Welcome everyone to what's called the Project 8. The first thing you need to know is that the only bits that these two cars have in common are the roof and the front doors. Everything else is changed. Suspension? Oh yes, that was changed as well. It now has Bilstein dampers that cost £1,000 each. And rose joints, and ceramic wheel bearings, like you get on a race car.
God, that looks tricky. Oh, dearie me. Oh, look at that for a tidy line. Drive fast.
Tread carefully. Yes! Very good. Now we go on to the really fast bit. Drive my foot into the floor. Go, 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 go.
On top of all that, the 8-speed gearbox also needed beefing up. And so did the four-wheel drive system. And then they had to get rid of the spare wheel and the well in which it sits to fit some underfloor aerodynamics. And then when they added up the cost of all the work they'd done, there was a problem. In order to make any money at all, the Project 8 would have to cost £150,000. That's 4 times more than the standard car. 4! So, here's the question. How mad would you have to be to spend £150,000 on a car that was designed and built in a glorified shed in the Midlands in about 18 months? And the simple answer is not mad at all, because this car is fan-bleeding-tastic. I will say that if you've got the car manually hunkered down and it's in track mode and the traction control is turned off, things can go a bit violent and bitey if you go beyond the limit.
No, for heaven's sake, I beg them, drive fast. Come on, turn! Look at that for a tidy line.
The answer is to stay within the limits, and in this car, that's no hardship. At normal road speeds, with the car in comfort or even dynamic mode, it's as quiet and as civilized as a Jag should be. It even has little springs sitting on top of the bigger springs to give you a more comfortable ride. But everything's relative, really. I mean, it's not as comfortable, say, as lying in a hammock on a summer's day listening to wood pigeons. But it does have air conditioning and a head-up display and electric seats, so it is more comfortable than you'd expect. In fact, it's better than you'd expect in every way. And maybe we shouldn't be surprised by that, because the last time something was designed and built quickly in a glorified shed in the Midlands, it was called the Spitfire. And it won the Battle of Britain.
Touch paper, and 3, 2, 1. Cue James May. Ready?
Hang on. The Spitfire.
Yes.
It was the Hurricane that won the Battle of Britain.
Well, it just wasn't.
No, it just was. There were far more of them. It was easier to build. It was easier to repair. It was easier to fly.
Yeah,
It
no,
was.
but that's like saying that a Nissan Juke is better than a Lamborghini Aventador because it's easier to build and there are more of them.
No, it's not like that at all.
It is.
The Hurricane was a much more stable gun platform in the hands of a novice. The Hurricane accounted for more enemy aircraft than all of our other air defences combined.
Yes.
It won.
But the Spitfire, OK, the Spitfire looked glamorous. So you'd look up from the sky and then that improved morale on the ground because people were going, oh, wow, look at that. We can't possibly lose
Yes,
this.
but morale didn't shoot down enemy aircraft. Hurricanes did.
Yes,
That's
I know, but
simply
if you've got a
fact.
small boy looking out the window, wow, look, there's a Spitfire up there and I'm going to join the RAF. And that's what we need. You want to fly a Hurricane because it looked like a sad basset hound.
No, it didn't look like a
It
South
didn't.
Basset. And anyway, the best fighter aircraft of World War II was the Messerschmitt 109. Everybody knows
Well, that didn't win the Battle of Britain, did it?
Well, to be honest, nobody won the Battle of Britain. It was a draw.
What? Where have you got that from?
It was a draw.
Chaps!
What?
Chaps! Hate to make this whole thing sound like, I don't know, a car show, but can we get it back to the Jag a bit?
Yes, because I don't want to talk to him any more about aeroplanes. 'cause-
Okay, remember the Jag.
Yes.
Is it a mainstream car?
No, if I'm honest, it isn't. They've only made 300 of them, and they're all left-hand drive.
What, so they went to all that time and trouble to develop
And expense, yeah.
and now they're only building a handful and they put the steering wheel on the wrong side.
No, it is very odd, but since I don't want to listen to him talking about Hurricanes anymore, I do think we should find out how fast it goes round the Ebola-drome.
Good job.
It's like a race car. It
Well,
drives like one. You can see
but
it.
that's the extraordinary thing, how well it drives on the road, because it's all like that. Anyway, that's the top 10 of our leaderboard, and there's the Jag waiting to see where it goes on. Or does it indeed get onto that list at all? Let's find out. Let's move it up.
Hang on a minute. It's faster than a GT3 RS. Good God.
I tell you, that is a really properly good car, that. It is the Spitfire of cars.
Hurricane.
Don't leave it.
It was
Hold,
the Hurricane.
hold, leave it, hold, hold,
Draw.
hold, steady, and relax, and carry on.
Tonight, we are finding out, is this right? Tonight, we are finding out how the new breed of European pickup trucks would fare in the developing world. And we've learned that the Volkswagen is the best of the lot.
No, we didn't learn that.
Well, we did. It was the fastest and it was the most powerful.
Yeah, but that's not actually terribly relevant if you're in a country where there are more AK-47s than ambulances, is
Yes,
it, really?
but whatever, OK? Whatever. So far, we've seen what happens when the peace ends and the dictator is toppled and chaos ensues. And now we pick up the story with what typically happens after that. OK, here's the situation. There's a power vacuum now. Foreign armies are pouring in, and it's our job to get this fuel to the nation's helicopter.
And then the villagers can be strafed.
Really?
That's what happens.
To that end, we have got to go from here to this forward operating base. And the first one there is the winner.
Me then.
Having saddled up, we waited for the sound to charge. And then naturally, all set off in different directions.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have the biggest engine, 3.2 litres, 5 cylinders, and not only is it strong enough to pull a train, literally, it's also the engine they use in the transit van. And those, as anyone who's ever been on a motorway knows, have a top speed of more than what you're in. I go through here. Oh, yeah.
I am racing a pickup truck off-road in Wales to refuel a helicopter. Oh, I am erect.
Down here and right. This test, if you think about it, it is rather pertinent that we are filming this in the UK because a couple of years when Brexit has really caught up with us, there will be a civil war and you will need pickup trucks to survive. The grip from the four-wheel drive system and the wider track and the Michelin Cup tyres absolutely bobbles your eyes. It's phenomenal.
It can take some punishment, this thing. That's what you want. Utility. It's like Jack Reacher's trousers. They're just some trousers. This is just some pickup.
I think if I can get through this gap in the wall, I save having to drive all the way around the end of it. Here I come. Oh, I have a compass. This is a piece of cake. Here we go. Now, Relone viewers, I will admit I'm not feeling entirely confident about this. 2.3-litre engine in my Mercedes is very robust. It'll last for 1,000 years. It's not what you'd call powerful. And there might be a few aerodynamic issues as well. But anyway, I'm going to go in D on the basis that Mercedes knows better than me. I have been clever.
Don't think that this Amarok is really designed for freedom fighters in Africa and the Middle East. I think it's aimed more at surveyors in England. I mean, it's got a laptop charging point here and a leather steering wheel. I'm sure you need that kind of thing in Mogadishu.
Need to go west, southwest for a bit, but avoiding that clump of trees.
No way! You're not coming through. Oh no! Whoa!
Yeah, his legs crossed up. Come on, Jeremy, get him, get him, get him!
No! No!
I'm now I'm doing winning!
Go.
That's will do.
I'm going to have a panic attack. Yes. This is rubbish.
You're complete nincompoop.
No, that's the compound. Damn it.
There's the helicopter, and once again, the Amarok is victorious.
Is that barrel gonna...
What on earth?
I'm probably not going to get my freedom fighter badge now, am I, for that?
What happened?
Well, him! And any minute now, he's going to claim he won this one as well.
He did win it.
Oh, yeah. That looks like success.
We were told to deliver fuel.
We weren't told to detonate the nation's helicopter. Look at it!
What is the budget for our show?
Smaller than it was.
Yeah, not big enough.
That's an expensive thing.
Yeah, helicopter.
It's a helicopter.
There are no cheap helicopters.
Apart from that one now. It's beyond useless, isn't it? It's something else.
Great
Oh,
truck.
don't pat it.
It's a good truck. If you have to have a pickup truck at a time of strife in your country, this is proving to be the winner at everything. I may have prevented the war.
How have you prevented the war?
Well,
the
because-
helicopter was there to stop the war by strafing the uprising villages, and now it can't do that.
No.
So now the whole thing is going to descend into civil war and chaos.
It is inevitable in the developing world that one day all pickup trucks end up being used as gun platforms.
Yeah, it's their destiny.
To die on the battlefield.
Yeah, I mean, every day you turn on the news and there's somebody standing in the back of a Toyota or a Nissan shooting at someone in a Humvee or a Land Rover.
And what we want to know is how good will our European trucks be at that?
Yeah, and most importantly, which one is best?
To find out, each of our pickups would be driven through a ruined town by a freedom fighter. Whilst we stood on the back, shooting at various targets. These included some big barn doors, a whole bus, and a selection of cardboard soldiers. James volunteered to go first.
You can go.
Right out to glory.
Look at him. The soldier of fortune. Dogs of war.
Not scared. The spaniel of war is what it is.
Go! Easy. I'm winning. This is a piece of cake. This is just brilliant. That's remarkable. Easy. I'm winning. Yay! This is just brilliant. It's a piece of cake. That's remarkable. I have been clever. I shouldn't feel so good, but it does. It's a piece of cake.
Rambo May had missed all the barn doors, all of the bus, and all of the soldiers. So, with a score of 0 to beat, Arnold Hammond-Onega was feeling very confident.
Stand up.
I am standing up.
Oh, he loves that.
Welcome to Richard Hammond's usual weekend.
Oh, I was brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you. That is just the best. I shall be victorious. Oh, yeah.
I had a bit of gun trouble, I'll not lie.
Well, here's some more news.
Yes?
General Stonewall Clarkson has gone off to get ready, but I suddenly remembered. Remember when we were in Jordan?
Yeah.
He can't fire automatic rifles.
No.
Do you remember?
Because it's crossed over, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's right-handed,
Yeah.
but left-eyed.
Yeah, so he
shoots from his left side,
Exactly, he's diagonal.
which means all the spent cartridges burn his arm.
Exactly.
Well, he'll be using a pistol, won't he? He always uses a
Yes.
pistol.
Actually, I wasn't using a pistol. That's what I've got. A 50 cal. Lock and load.
Hello.
Right, splendid.
Absolutely spectacular.
I'm a horse of a man.
Skillful work.
I say that's rather good. Yes.
Absolutely brilliant.
Rookie. Hold my genius.
Yes, yes. I'm thinking, oh yeah, pretty good.
I was very brave.
It's staggering.
Come on.
It's absolutely staggering.
How clever is that?
Genius. Excellent.
Yes! Another victory.
How'd you work that out?
And I hate to tell you this, but you haven't hit the doors, which were the target.
How do you know I haven't hit the doors?
Because there's no...
Well, on that terrible disappointment for him, time to go back to the tent.
No. Don't clap. Don't clap. He killed a man.
You jammed an AK-47.
Well-
It's famously unjammable. No one in history has ever jammed one until you came along.
Yes, it overheated.
That's because you were firing it into the air pointlessly when you set off.
That's what they're for. Weddings, funerals, exam results. You go outside, fire AK in the air. It's a joyous thing. They are the party popper of the developing world.
So never mind all that. I have the scores.
This is the
final
important
scores.
bit.
Jeremy Clarkson, you fired 2,600 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
And the number of targets you hit was 1.
You laugh, but it's one more than him.
It is.
It is one more than you, so I'm winning.
Wait, so hang on. It all boils down to how many targets I hit.
Yes, but you had a roll bar to hang on to.
I did.
Yep, he did. And he scored
Yes.
0.
You really got nothing.
Yep.
That's it. Okay, so after all of that, what is our conclusion, gentlemen?
Can we do a sensible one?
Yeah.
See, the thing is, that Mercedes Nissan you had, it did have a wobbly back end, and I just don't think that's good enough, actually, in a pickup truck. I really don't. The Volkswagen is very good, but pickup trucks are working tools, and it's just a bit too posh. You wouldn't want to get into it in muddy boots, so I don't think that will work.
So
really.
it's the Ford then. It's the cheapest.
It is the cheapest, and it's, I think, the best looking, and it is actually the one I'd have.
You'd have the Ford.
Yeah,
So
and
we
you'd have the
both have
Ford.
the Ford.
Yeah.
We'd have the Ford. James, what would you have?
I wouldn't have a pickup truck.
Yes, I know, but in this test of pickup trucks, which one would you have? Which are you going for?
None of them. I wouldn't have one.
No, I know, but we're testing pickups, so which pickup truck of the 3 would you have?
I wouldn't have a pickup truck.
We've just spent, I don't know, 20 minutes reviewing these pickup trucks. The ladies and gentlemen would like to know which is the best.
Yes, I've come to a conclusion on behalf of the ladies and gentlemen, which is don't have a pickup truck.
James, you have a powerful imagination. Use it. Let's pretend. OK, come with me on a journey. We'll warm your imagination up. Imagine you're an eagle.
Okay.
Visualize that you're flying over mountains. Can you feel it? Can you feel the wind in your feathers? It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
OK, now imagine you've got a pickup truck. Which one is it?
Why would an eagle have a pickup
No!
truck?
No, I mean, imagine. OK, let's try. OK, imagine, James May, a pastoral scene. You got it? There's like rolling grassy hills, a few sheep around. You're a farmer. You're walking around with your dog at your heel there, sheep all around you.
Can I have Beethoven play?
Beethoven is playing, obviously, live. There's an old 5-bar gate there. An old oak tree arches over the gate. And under the oak tree is your farmer's pickup truck. Which one is it?
It's not there. I wouldn't have a... Because I wouldn't have a pickup truck. Neither should anybody else. You shouldn't have a
Even
pickup
in your imagination.
My imagination does not admit a pickup truck. I'm not being stubborn. I know my mind.
Yes,
And I don't want a pickup truck.
And what I know is that you've wasted so much time not choosing a pickup truck and claiming that the Battle of Britain was a draw that we don't have time for the big celebrity duel between Adrian Charles and Howard from the Halifax ads.
Oh, no.
Exactly. And on that terrible disappointment, we must end. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.